Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video, we're going to quickly go over the RGT 85 and Nintendo situation. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, for those of you who don't know who RGT 85 is, RGT 85 stands for Retro Gaming Tube 85. I think the 85 is their birth year. I could be mistaken there. It might just be a random number. And they have been around for quite a while. I'm pretty sure they used to be a part of Nintendo Enthusiast. Their YouTube channel used to focus on retro gaming. But most recently, they've been known for doing a lot of Nintendo Switch stuff. Now, I'm not joking here. If you take a look at their YouTube channel, most of their videos are around Nintendo products. It's pretty safe to say that this is a Nintendo-focused channel, but interestingly enough here, they're not actually affiliated with Nintendo. They don't work with Nintendo, they don't work for Nintendo. They just really like Nintendo stuff. And truth be told here, not all of their content is pro-Nintendo. They're not necessarily a Nintendo shill either. I mean, they do criticize them from time to time. Anyways, at over 400,000 subscribers, RGT 85 is not a small YouTube channel. And the other day, they posted a video talking about Nintendo coming after them for a review they did on Metroid Dread. So here's the video in question Nintendo is trying to take down. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. Now, oddly enough here, this is not a negative review of the game. It's a very positive review. So you might be asking yourself, why would Nintendo want to take a positive review down? It's basically free advertising. And it was created by a popular YouTuber with a pretty big audience here. I mean, it's got over 100,000 views. Very weird. Well, the answer is one thing here, and that is the date, October 6th. Now, if you take a look at my handy-dandy chart here, you can see that Metroid Dread was released on October 8th. That is 2 days after RGT 85's review video. Now, normally when reviewers get copies of games, they're early access copies. They get them well before the game is launched. That gives them time to play through the game, formulate their own opinions, and get their content ready for when the game launches. Oftentimes, these companies will say, hey, you're not allowed to post anything until a certain date and time before the game goes live in order to generate some excitement. In this case, the embargo date for Metroid Dread was October 6th, which happened to be the same date that RGT 85 posted their video. So they didn't really break any rules in that regard, but RGT 85 wasn't a Nintendo reviewer. Now, Nintendo did not provide a review copy to RGT 85. You might be wondering, how did RGT 85 review the game if they didn't have a review copy? Well, they bought it from a store early. At least that's my understanding of it. And they weren't the only person to buy the game early. It was released a little bit early from a few stores. Some stores just don't care about release dates. It happens. Sometimes copies of games get out into the public before the official launch, and this isn't the only case of it. Well, RGT 85 looks like they were one of the lucky people to pick it up early, and that gave them time to review the game. Now, since Nintendo did not provide them a review code, they weren't really bound by any embargo dates. And even if RGT 85 was bound by some sort of blanket embargo, they posted their review after the embargo was over. But Nintendo wasn't happy about it because Nintendo didn't provide a code for that review. RGT 85 shouldn't have been able to buy the game in the first place. That's not really RGT 85's fault. And what makes matters even more interesting here is that Nintendo went after RGT 85 on October 8th, after the game was already out. Now, I could be wrong with this October 8th date, and if I am, let me know in the comments below, but if Nintendo did go after RGT 85 on October 8th, that is well after October 6th. Metroid Dread is already out. It shouldn't really matter. And I find it interesting that Nintendo would actually take the effort to go after someone for a positive review after anyone can already review the game. To me, it just doesn't make any sense at all. It's a very weird situation. Now, to muddy up the water some more here, in a very interesting turn of events, apparently YouTube stepped up and refused to take the video down when Nintendo requested or demanded it, stating fair use. So after all of this, RGT 85 is wondering whether or not he should take down that video. I've seen some people strongly say yes, take it down. And I've seen some other people say no, keep it up, what's the big deal? And I'm kind of leaning towards that second answer. I mean, Dread is already out. And his review was up after an embargo that he wasn't really a part of. And if he was, well, he complied with the rules of it. Sure, he bought the game early and didn't get a review code, but he bought the game early. I don't really see the issue here. But Nintendo, they've gone out of their way to ruin things that don't necessarily need to be ruined. I mean, if you're a part of the fighting game community, if you're part of the emulation community, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Nintendo makes some amazing games, and I'm not denying that. They really do. They still do. They have in the past. I'm a big fan of Nintendo games. But if you're talking about corporate Nintendo, Well, that's a different question entirely. At the end of the day here, I'm really curious to see what happens. I want the video to stay up. I want RGT85 to beat Nintendo. I think that would be great for content creators. But I would kind of understand if he decides to take the video down to maybe salvage a relationship with Nintendo or not be in Nintendo's bad books, considering he primarily has a Nintendo channel. I would also say though that Nintendo as a company probably doesn't really care about him, especially given the recent actions here. Anyways, that is all I've got for this video. Let me know your thoughts about this whole situation in the comments below. Should he have put the review video up early? Should he keep it up or should he take it down? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Thank you everyone, take care.